Hey YouTube, so today, another treat for you. We have a 2013 Ford Explorer. This particular vehicle has a 3.5 motor in it, and it needs to be exchanged out. The motor's gone kaput, and in this case it's cheaper to replace the motor as opposed to trying to go through and fix it and rebuild it. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Look at that old dipstick right there. See that white milky? Yeah. So this vehicle came to me from another shop. They diagnosed it and gave the information to the owner, and of course it was referred to me. So we're going to have a little fun and rip this bad boy apart. I'm going to show you how to get this motor out of here the fast, quick, easy way. And we're going to start by removing some of these, covers, basically, the intake, stuff like that, so you can get a better view of the motor. And then we'll proceed to the next steps. So stick around, get you some popcorn or coffee, tea, Pepsi, drink, whatever it is you do while you watch these videos, because this one's going to be a little bit long. There's certain things that I'll try to cut to make it short, so it'll be short, quick, to the moment, to the point. But I promise you I will not miss anything if I can help it. All right, so let's get started, and we'll get started by removing the air intake covers, this here, that tray. That'll give you a better view overall of what you have to do, because right now with this stuff on here you can't really see what it is you have to remove. There was a cover here, I've already removed that, but if you can't figure out how to remove that cover, then you don't even need to be doing this job. A couple quick notes in removing this tubing. You want to push that back and pull, and you can see there, you see how that milky substance is coming out. Yeah, that motor's trash. All right, then you loosen that there, and of course you just slide that up and snaps there. There's a little locking pin there. You may have to pull this out so that you can see it. Pull that off and then you can see it. I'll get that stuff out of the way, then we can focus on the important stuff. All right, so as you can see, we have our boxes out of the way. Take that box out of the way. There's the battery tray. Take the battery tray. Next, we'll go ahead and remove our hoses here and here. You'll notice the wiring harness is connected here. You can disconnect that there and disconnect the wiring, the ground strap there. And the battery box, you'll open that up and you can disconnect right there, and this whole piece will come off. All right, also while you're here, go ahead and disconnect your transmission shift cable while you're at it. And we're going to take these hoses out of the way, so that way you'll get a better view. All right, so we have that one out of the way. Also, I do recommend these hose clamp pliers. If you don't have a pair of hose clamp pliers, I highly recommend you get you a pair. They just make the job so much easier. Look at that. You can grab that right there and take that right off. That's my weak hand. Let me try my other hand. But as you can see, I've already got it loose, and it's just a matter of grab and go. There we go. And that's just one-handed tool, taking off a hose clamp. So highly recommend you get some of that. I need two hands to pull that one loose. When removing the transmission shift cable, you want to slide this little piece over to the right, and then you'll pry this up. Back here you've got some little plastic tabs. You'll push those forward and you'll lift that up out of there. Pretty simple. So you want to push that up out of the way, because you're not going to need that in the way. All right, now we'll disconnect our wiring harness and our ground and our other piece here. All right, now we're going to remove our coolant hoses. But I wanted to show you this fuel hose. These are pretty simple. Basically, you push this tab back and then you can just slide that off. Same way with that there. That's your fuel connection. Disconnect that. Disconnect that little coolant clamp there as well for that hose. Over here on this side, you'll want to disconnect this hose here for your heater core, and there's another one behind it. We'll disconnect that as well. So we'll pull those off. You see we have our wires and harness disconnected, as well as our battery terminal box disconnected. And then we're going to go and pick the car up. Okay, so I started running out of space, so I had to delete some stuff, and I kept moving, I kept working, but I wanted to get back to this and let you know what we had to do here. So you'll need to take the front end of the front bumper cover off, which is pretty simple. There's a few bolts that attach it around the side and it peels off. So you take that off, and you take the front bumper out, and then you'll notice you have like easy access to get to the motor. Okay, at this point you can just put your engine hoist in here. There's a connection back there. There's a connection back there for your chain to hook your chain into. Then you'll find the point around here to hook it into. Put your hoist right in here, and basically once you undo these motor mounts, this motor will actually drop down, so you really don't have to pick it up that much. It'll drop down because that's the only thing holding it at this point. You see how I'm rocking it? Okay, that's just rocking on the motor mounts there. So there is a mount up under it, the transmission mount. You'll take that loose, and that allows that motor to rock. But once you get all your wiring harnesses loose, this wiring harness here with the battery connector, it has the starter. It goes back on the transmission back there, and there's some slides that go on that slide onto these bolts. Get you a screwdriver and pry that off and disconnect your starter. Then you can take this whole harness and pull it back up under there out of your way so that it doesn't get damaged. So after that, then we'll hook our engine hoist up to it. We'll pop our bolts here, motor mount bolts, and we'll be able to pull this motor and transmission transaxle assembly up out of here. Now we did have to remove the CV axles, okay, for both sides, because if you don't, that's going to have you can't get it out with the axles out. Okay, so as you see, you pop it right there at your shocks, at your struts, pull your CV axle out for both sides. This front bumper is pretty easy. And the main thing is just make sure you have all your hoses disconnected. This is your vacuum hose for your brake line. There's nothing really back here that you have to worry about being connected. So, and on this side, you want to disconnect your fuel line, your coolant line, another fuel line, and that's it. This motor is really simple to get out of these cars. Once you take the front end off, you don't even have to take the hood off if you don't want to. I mean, I'm not going to jack it up that high. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put my hoist right here, and then I'm just going to lift it and kind of pull it out and kind of lift as I go. So once you take the front shroud off here, you know, that's the stick that holds the hood up. I could take the hood off, but I'm not. And as you see, we have the CV axle out on this side as well too. So now we have everything disconnected. We'll go ahead and hoist her on up. And again, I'm going to pick it up and I'll pull this line harness out of the way. So as you can see, with it out of the way, there's a little plate there. You can leave that on or take that off. Take it off, it just makes it easier to move this wiring harness out of the way. And it also makes it easier when putting it back in the way. You'll also need to remove this plate here, because you're not really coming up. You're coming up just a hair, but you're coming straight out. So you just want to lift it up high enough to clear that down there and clear this wiring harness here. Okay. All right. And we'll get that slung up, and I'll let you see what that looks like, and then we'll get this bad boy pulled up out of there. Okay, so we have our motor mount loose. We have our hoist hooked up, and we have it chained so that we can pick it up. Took a chain, hooked that loop right there, looped it around, and now I'm taking this motor. Neat little wrench I have here. You know, that's got the swivel angle heads on it. But you'll need to get that motor mount loose and dig that up out of there. That way it gives you more play. As you can see on this side, we've already removed that right there. Also, there is one little wiring ground that you need to take loose there. Make sure you have that loose. And now, with that loose and that other stuff loose, as you can see, the motor is ready to be lifted up out of there. I've got it down a little bit so that I can get to those bolts right there. But as you see, I can just start jacking it, and you know, it's ready to come on out of there. So it's completely on the hoist at this point. So I'll move this out, that way I can pick that up and take that on off. You could just take this bolt out here, bolt there, and slide that out, but you still need this piece out. So that's use 13mm wrench, take this nut out, and there's another one behind it, and then take those two 13s out at the top. That gives you free clearance so that you can lift it up high enough. And as you lift up, you're going to pull forward, and you pull it up out of there. Well, that's pretty much it. Installation is reverse or removal. If you have any questions or comments, please post chat. Now, one other question, you could drop the subframe here if you wanted to and lower it down out the vehicle, but if you do that, then you've got to worry about the steering knuckle and the steering gear and all that's back there, down there. So, you know, you can avoid some trouble just by lifting it out. If you feel like you don't have enough in the hood, in the top, if you feel like you don't have enough room to do it from the top, you can pull the hood off or lift it up higher, but you don't really need to. Basically, you just need to lift it up high enough to get past this rail. Once you lift it up, you can either pull it out or you can push the car back. So that's it. If you have any questions or comments, please post, chat, subscribe, and other than that, thanks for watching YouTube, and I appreciate your support. And please share this with your upload with the rest of your online community. Someone out there may need this. Thanks for watching. Again, have a great night. Okay, one last step before you pull the motor. I forgot to mention to you, you want to go ahead and pull that wiring harness on this particular one because it hooks up back there and goes in there. And instead of going through all that hassle to try to pull it out, you have to pull the glove box out and some other stuff. Go ahead and disconnect all your little wiring connectors and pull your wiring harness off to the side there. I've already done that for you, so you can see what it should look like whenever you go to pull the motor and axle assembly out. So have that wiring harness off to the back, and you can just post it up there, and then remember you got the other wiring harness posted down there. Now that gives you free access to the motor and engine transaxle assembly. Remember, you took your motor mounts out there, you take the other one out, so then you just lift it up. And with the front end of the vehicle off, as you can see, I don't even really have the hood up that high, the front end of the vehicle off. You lift it up high enough beyond, you know, so that that'll clear right there. You can just pull that on out. I don't have my gloves on right now. I don't really want to touch it, but I'm getting ready to go eat lunch. As you can see, I'm going to lift it up a little more. Okay, as you can see, it's out of there. The arm is pushing up on the hood, so I'm going to lift the hood up a little bit more. And you can actually raise that and push it all the way back like so. And as you can see, that motor's out of there. So, now at this point, we just pull it back. Let me get someone else to help me pull this thing. It is rather heavy, and I don't want to hurt myself. Alright, so, you can pull this thing back. You know, you might need to spin it a little bit, give you a little extra clearance in there if you want to. But as you can see, it is loose. So now, once you get it out, then of course you take all your accessories off, you take the transmission off. This particular motor is locked up, so I can't really turn it. So I have to open it up and turn it from the bottom in order to get that torque converter off. But we'll figure that out once we get it out. Once you have it out, it's so much easier to work with as opposed to trying to fight with it in the car. And this particular unit is fairly easy to get out if you know what you're doing. All right, so if you have any comments, please post, chat, subscribe. Thanks for watching. We're gonna get this out and get it separated, and I may make a few more videos on it, but it's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna put the motor and transmission, for the new motor and transmission, new motor onto the old transmission, and I'll put it back in the car. I'll give you an idea of the motor that we have from our donor vehicle. This motor has low miles on it. Came from one of our junkyard vendors. Looks to be in very good shape. The thing that was appealing about it is the low miles. I think this thing had probably about 30 some odd thousand miles on it. It looks really, really good. I don't know if they opened it up or not, but I do know they had to have taken this intake manifold off in order to get the wiring harness off. Sometimes they'll come in with a wiring harness, sometimes they won't. It just depends on which yard you get it from. I do like how they have all this stuff capped off, and how they have, you know, your labels and things that, you know. Yeah, okay. So anyway, they have labels and stuff like that, which is pretty good. I mean, some people don't know whether or not what to do when installing the motor. They gotta get it in there, and then it's like, okay, well, what's the next step? So, you know, that kind of gives you some help there. All right. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please post, chat, subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. I tried to make this rather quick because this is a rather simple one to do. You know, like I say, it just hangs in there. And once you get everything loose, you can pull it up and out and be done with it. So the trick to it is taking off the front end of the car. I had someone tell me they tried to do it, and they didn't want to take the front end of the car off. They tried to raise it from the front, thought they didn't have enough success. All right, so now we have it out. Thanks for watching. Please post, chat, subscribe, and share this video with your other online activity, your other online community. Someone out there may need to know how to do this, or want to know how to do this, or just want it for entertainment purposes. But again, if you have any questions, please post, chat, subscribe, and thank you for watching. If there's a particular video you would like to see, let me know. I'll try to get it in there for you. Other than that, have a great day and stay safe.